Hello, viewers. Today I'll be talking about Easy Delivery Company. I don't usually do these types of reviews, but man, this game is good, and I must tell you about it. I unfortunately don't have any footage from any of my playthroughs, so just enjoy some footage from other channels. However, all channels will be credited for their work. Let's get on with the review, shall we? But first, we must talk about what is Easy Delivery Company and what is its story. First, I'll start off with what is Easy Delivery Co. Easy Delivery Co. is a game where you play as an anthropomorphic cat doing deliveries for Easy Company, a likely multi-million Egacorp or something, right? But let's just get to the point. It's a game where you play as a cat and you do deliveries in your Kai truck. It's very simple. Throughout the game, you will progress the story as per usual, which gets more and more creepy as you go on, which is to be expected of a game with PS1 graphics. Yeah, that's right, I've caught on to the trends. Oh god, this is terrible. Anyway, how about we start exploring the story now that I've given you a little summary of what the game even is. Chapter 1: The Story. The player starts out in a train, which is only a cutscene, and you cannot do anything in this stage, of course. You just watch as the tundra-like landscape passes by. Next thing you know, you're inside your Kai truck. This will be your refuge for the entire rest of the game, as exiting it for short periods of time without any shelter will cause death. After all, there is nothing you can really do about the cold. After taking one of two jobs, you can either go to Tui at the Easy Eats or Ada at the Easy Flowers. Both characters mention a Seb, however, we will get back to him later once the story has developed much more. Eventually, however, you are going to run out of energy, which is a mechanic in the game. Once you run out of energy, you cannot immediately drink an energy drink. They first tell you to look for the dog. Once you've found the dog, you'll actually start a cutscene with you. And this is where the story truly begins. Once you begin the cutscene with the dog, he will tell you that his name is MK. He will then tell you that he will fix your map with an energy drink in return. Once you go and buy the energy drink, he fixes your map, as promised. Once you've given him the energy drink, he actually tells you to keep it, as you're definitely going to need it in the game. He actually invites you over to his cabin in Snowy Peaks, the second location in the game which you will be able to access after this. However, you're going to need a lighter to clear the roadblock of logs, which you can buy for $60 at the Easy Depot. Hell yeah. After burning the logs that were in the way, and heading into the tunnel, you find this. Something much more snowy and far more desolate than Mountain Town could ever be, with the snow extending for miles and miles upon miles and miles, with huge snow heaps blocking the way that the player must traverse. In fact, the snow is so much that the car struggles to even cross it, which is surprising considering the conditions it used to operate in the Mountain Town area. Eventually, though, you make it to MK's cabin, likely with an intercity delivery with you. This triggers another dialogue session. MK apologizes for the mess before telling us that coffee is a much better energy source than energy drinks, which is, of course, accurate to real life. He also tells us that Snowy Peaks has very uneven, treacherous terrain, which is, of course, natural. You're going to need snow tires for that, he says. These snow tires you can buy at the auto shop. The auto shop, of course. But he also tells you that to brew coffee, you're going to need your own cooking pot, but you're free to use his at any time. After the dialogue cutscene ends, you can freely walk away and brew your own coffee, which is very handy. As a fun little extra tidbit, and you can actually get your own coffee at the Easy Cafe, and for only like $40, which is honestly a steal. After you have bought your snow tires, the MK is outside of the auto shop for some reason. He congratulates us for getting the snow tires. He tells us he'll be heading into Fishing Town soon through the tunnel in Easton. There's something you could really use your help with. After the dialogue is over, you can drive to Fishing Town via the tunnel in Easton, as MK said. The journey to Fishing Town is long and not as excruciating as you might think, albeit the player may have to stop for a refuel. Eventually, after passing through the snowy banks and heading into the tunnel, you're faced with a damn wall. No, seriously, there's just a damn wall. A wall from the dam, you can say. MK tells us that this used to be a bustling fishing village until EasyCode took over the hydro dam. EasyCode then decided to shut down on any access to the area except for locals and EasyCode employees. This probably killed every business day air, which I definitely agree that probably killed a couple of businesses, but who cares in the name of capitalism? Back to the point, he actually needs our help to infiltrate the dam, and because there's some supplies there that he is gonna need. To get past the security gate, you're gonna have to reactivate all the local radio stations and then come back to the gatehouse to, activate the gate. Good luck out there, he tells us. He'll make this trip to the other side first, he also says. Now, I just want to vent for a moment. This mission, man, this mission was probably the hardest part of the game I have experienced. And that mostly comes down to one thing, and that's that I do not know how to properly access most of the towers, aka two of them. First of them, which is the one that plays Rainless whenever you get close to it, is actually pretty easy to do. So I'll just be skipping that one. But these two, man, these two. First up, the Easton Tower. This tower was incredibly difficult for me because this is actually the first time I died. Mainly because I did not know there were logs in the way. So on my first playthrough, after that, I just followed the tutorial to run on my kite truck up the hill and somehow to the tower. Anyways, after activating that one, we get to the Snowy Peaks Tower, which is very tall for some reason, likely to get better signal. This tower was not as difficult, but and I did struggle a little bit to get it on top of the little hill thing where the actual tower rests on because I didn't want to walk the extra stairs due to my paranoia that I was gonna die again. But trust me, you do not want to have. You do not want to die in this game. No, not ever. No. Anyways, let's get back to the actual story after the radio towers have been activated. After you've activated all of the radio towers that are available, you can go to the gatehouse and open it. MK is already on the other side. However, the moment you pass over the gate, it closes behind you. Which, why? Also, why is it only one-sided? Yeah, this game gives us all a lot of questions, but that's the fun of it, The theories. Once again, MK is there, of course. We You can talk to him once again. And this time he tells us that and he needs us to get some supplies from the dam. However, it is guarded by more gates. These ones are not as big though. Looks like with enough force you could smash through them. Perhaps a bumper bar at the Easy Auto could work. Read from the Easy Auto, of course, will set you up, but they'll still make you pay. It's not their fault. Hey, at least it's not all bad. And because apparently there's some good fishing spots, which I have completely skipped over in every single playthrough I've done. Man. Anyways, self-admitted negligence there. Let's get on with the story. Of course, we need to take more deliveries, as per usual. I don't exactly have anything to say right now, so just enjoy the rest of the footage. After you've gained enough cash, you can go to the Easy Auto and talk to Reed, in which you can buy the bumper bar, which will let you smash through things, as he explains. To be quite honest, this is actually one of the most useful upgrades in the entire game, because it also lets you smash through trees, which is pretty useful in the late game. And after all those things sometimes get in the way. You also will gain the new goal of actually going to the hydro dam. There you can smash through some gates to actually access the thing. But please note, this is where the game gets creepy. This is where everything starts spiraling out of control. Don't trust me? You'll see. Once you've driven over to one of the sides of the dam, your radio music will be replaced, and I mean will be replaced by cat.wav, which is apparently emanating from the hydro dam. You can smash through the gates and you can enter an elevator which takes you down to presumably one of the lower floors. This is where the game gets actually scary, mostly because of how dark and eerie it is. Trust me on this. One thing to note, however, there are no scary, eerie, spooky, dooky monsters that chase you in the game. And that I can guarantee. Once you're down in the deeper levels, you can exit the elevator, and it's already immediately eerie. It's so dark and empty you can barely see anything, but the player instinct is to move right. Eventually, if you go far enough right, you'll find the radios. Handheld radios, of course. This way you can talk to MK eventually, when the endings come. Trust me on this, these things are very important. This area is also where you may find some secrets. As I'm not sure about this, but I think there's like some type of secret way, like some secret passageway, and it leads you to a computer which plays some dialogue related set, but we'll get to that in a bit. Anyways, back to the topic. I don't really have anything else to say, so just enjoy the footage as usual with some music. After this pretty horrifying event, the player can go back to to MK, who's waiting at the gate, which is now permanently open, which is pretty lucky to be honest. Once again, per usual, MK will activate a dialogue cutscene. This time around, MK tells us that there's something wrong with the shopkeepers. Every day they seem to be getting more ill. It's gotten a lot worse since you started deliveries. He doesn't blame you though. It's given them all a reason to keep going. And to keep MK going. MK's plan to help the shopkeepers is for us to get the ice changed so we can get a better access into the factory. Now, on my first playthrough, I actually thought this was just going to be a normal little factory. And we had to bring all the shopkeepers there, yada yada yada, but trust me, it's not like that. Once you have bought the ice tracks, you, of course, head over to Weston and into the tunnel. However, even from the moment you're near the tunnel, something doesn't feel right. This is no ordinary factory. MK is waiting by a campfire. But first, I want to focus on this behemoth of a structure. I mean, if you even just take one little glance at this thing, and you can tell that this thing is giant. It is not a factory in the normal sense. It's so tall, in fact, it even reaches into the sky. You can't even see the top of it. That is just how gigantic this machine is. Or rather, building, but still. Anyways, ramble about the towering structure over. Back to the story. MK once again gives us a dialogue cutscene. Tells us that and it's a straight shot to the factory, but we're gonna need some speed. You know, he would go with us, but his programming doesn't allow him to. I think it should be evident now that this game is more than meets the eye. It is definitely not what it poses as. He also says that we should make sure to top up on energy before heading inside. It makes sense considering how ginormous that thing is. After the dialogue session, you get back in your truck and you drive that out to the ginormous ice lake which blocks your way. Due to your ice chains, you can easily skip over it, but you definitely do need a lot of speed. After this, you crash through the barrier, and you drive toward the factory. Eventually, well, much like the hydro dam, you get into an elevator and go down. Now, for the final part of this, until it's necessary, I won't be speaking because I want you to take in all of this. Here, on this easy code computer, you have two choices: rebooting them or shutting them down. The choice is yours, really. Do you want to end the pain? Or do you want to reboot them, causing a cycle? But that will mean keeping them safe. By choosing Hydro Dam and shutting down the turbines, you'll shut down all of the shopkeepers and MK, leading to the shutdown ending. However, if you reboot the SD units, which are the shopkeepers, you'll get the reboot ending. In this particular case, first we're checking out the reboot ending. Now, where do you think both of the two endings take you? The starting screen. It all ties back together. This entire time has been a simulation. Every character is a robot, or at least biomechanical in some way, shape, or form. The absolute revelation of this actually made my jaw drop. These endings actually made my jaw drop on the first playthrough. I was just not expecting this. But wait, there's more. What if we chose to shut down all of the units? Well, if you were to shut down all SD units, you would, well, go back to the title screen as usual. But after you've rebooted or shut down the SD units, you can still access the save file, of course. So if you go back into the save file and you go to CC's prawn shop, you steal the recovery disk. Yeah, steal, because because CC's not alive, so why not just steal it? And you go back to the factory, then you can get the third ending. What a bittersweet end to one of my new favorite games of this entire year. Anyways, this game is actually probably one of the best games I've played this entire year. Also, one of my first story games as well, which is surprising. Sam C, if you're watching this video, thank you for such an amazing game, my guy. Thank you. Now for my actual review of this game and why it's one of my favorite games now. First up, the music. This is fire. I could listen to this every single day and I would not mind. Really. Second up, the general game design. I don't know why, but it just tickles my brain right. I'm sorry if this section, the actual review was very short, but like, it's so hard to process into words how much I like this damn game. Third up, the general story also it's just so nicely crafted and so nicely executed too. I mean, it's so hard not to like the game. Of course, there's bugs here and there because, this is a very recent release. But still. Overall, if I would have to give this a gamer rating, it would be an 11 out of 10. Seriously, that's just how good it is. I highly recommend this game. It's surprisingly cheap for its quality. I just recommend it. Very good game. Also, the game has a lot of little secrets and tidbits here and there. aired that I haven't even mentioned, so I'd highly recommend you check it out due to that as well. This has been my longest video, well, yet. Probably the longest video, not ever, but certainly yet. I highly thank you for watching to the end, and I hope that you have an easy day. This was Jigsaw 1985, aka Nushin Robo, signing off.